Before proceeding to the modals, let's recall about verbs. Children, all of you have learnt about verbs in your lower classes. What is a verb? A verb is a doing word. A verb is a word that refers to an action, a state of being, or possession in a sentence. Example. The first example is, the peon locked the classroom. What do you mean by locked? What does lock do here? It's an action verb. It's an action performed by the peon. The second example is, Tanya is a dancer. Is a verb. It's a state of being. Third example is, he has a magical pencil. What does that person have? A magical pencil. Has is a verb. It's a possession verb. Now, let's look at some more examples of verbs. As I told you, a verb is a word that shows action. Here are some more examples. Jumping girl. The verb here is jumping. The baby sleeps. Verb is sleeps. A man eats a burger. Eats is a verb. Some more examples are, look at the pictures towards the right side of the slide. Draw, hop, jump, read, write, dance, dive, swim. Hope all of you have recalled about the verbs what you had learnt in your previous classes. Verbs are classified into two categories based on their functions. The first one is main or principal verbs. The verbs which you had already studied in your lower classes and the verbs which I recalled, they all are principal verbs. Words like run, dance, eat, jump, etc. are principal verbs. We add an ending or we change them to get other forms. For example, dance, danced, jump, jumped, run, ran, eat, ate. So these are the principal verbs. Now, moving on to the next part, the auxiliary or helping verbs. Now, what are these auxiliary or helping verbs? An auxiliary verb is used with a main verb to form a verb phrase. What do we mean by this? Let us look at the example. The first example is, the train is going to Mumbai. Is an auxiliary verb and going is a main verb. The boys have eaten their dinner. Have is an auxiliary verb. Eaten is a main verb. In the above sentences, we have used two kinds of verbs, an auxiliary verb and the main verb. Auxiliary verbs are helping verbs. They help to form the tenses, voices, and moods of the main verbs. You'll be studying about all these tenses and voices in the next part of the classes. So, auxiliary or the helping verbs is used with the main verb to form a verb phrase. Auxiliary verbs are of two types, primary auxiliary verbs and modal auxiliary verbs. Now let's see what are primary auxiliary verbs. Auxiliary verbs, as I told you, they are the helping verbs. They help to form the tenses, voices and moods of the main verbs. Be, do and have are called primary auxiliaries. What are primary auxiliaries? Be, do and have are called primary auxiliaries. They change their forms according to the number and person of the subject. Now, the forms of primary auxiliary. They change their forms according to the number and person of the subject. The auxiliary verbs be. In the present tense, the words used are am, is, are, and in the past tense was, were. Do. Do becomes do and does in present tense, and in the past tense it becomes did. Have. In the present tense has and have. Past tense had. So children, these are the words which are new for you. Please write these words and learn these words again and again so that you will remember what primary auxiliaries are and their different forms. The primary auxiliaries, I repeat it, the words are be, do and have. They can change their form according to the number and person of the subject. Now, let's move on to the modal auxiliaries. What are modal auxiliaries? Modal auxiliaries are auxiliary verbs that cannot be used as main verbs. They can function only as helping verbs and can never stand alone in a sentence. Modals help to express the mood or attitude of the speaker. Some of the commonly used modals are will, would, shall, should, can, could, may, might, must, used to, ought to. So these are some of the modals which you will be learning how to use them in a sentence. Now, let's see how these modals are used in different kinds of sentences. Shall is used in the first person to denote simple future time. What does it mean? For example, this time, next week, I shall be in Europe. Shall is used in the second and third person to express promise. If I have to promise somebody, using the word shall, how can I do it? You shall be paid tomorrow. They shall get their money back. He shall be promoted if he works hard. If I have to use the word shall in a command, you shall not steal. He shall go there. They shall do as I tell them. If it is a threat, you shall be dismissed if you disobey your boss. He shall be fined for telling lies. If it is a determination, if I am determined to do something, I will definitely do it. So in that way, how is shall used? Example, you shall go at once. He shall go with you. So these are the different ways in which we can use the word shall. What is shall? It's a verb. And which kind of verb it is? It's a modal auxiliary verb. Next, uses of should. Should is the past form of shall. How is it used in a sentence? If it is a duty or an obligation, how is the word should used? We should help the poor. He should not quarrel with his brother. You should have attended the meeting. If it is giving or seeking advice, how can I use should? You shouldn't make fun of the disabled. How should I pay her for her work? If it is a disapproval, you shouldn't have behaved in this manner. So these are some of the ways in which we can use the modal should. Now, coming to the uses of will. Will is used in the second and the third persons to express simple future time. For example, you will not escape. He will go there. They will help her. You, he, they are the second and the third person. So will is used in the second and the third person to express the simple future time. So will is used in the first person to express. It can be used in a different way when it comes to the first person. Let's see how it is used. Will is used to express willingness. How is it used in a sentence? I will lend you my book. I am willing to lend my book. We will come to tea with you. We will go there for your sake. Now, if it is a promise, how can I use the word will? I will help you. We will recommend your case. If it's a determination, I will fight for my rights. I will confess. If I have done any mistake, definitely I will confess. Intention. I will write a letter to him tomorrow. We will go to the cinema today. So these are the different ways of using the verb will. Uses of would. Would, the past tense of will, is used in this way. If it is a wish, if I have to express a wish, how can I use the word would? I would like to see that book. Would you like to come to the movie with me? Now, if it is a refusal, if I have to refuse something, how can I use the word? The car wouldn't start. She wouldn't answer any question. Now, suppose it is a determination. He would not lie. He would have his way. If it is a willingness for something, she said that she would help me. She would do as you had told her to do. If it is a polite speech, would you please lend me your book? If it is a past habit, she would sit for hours on this chair. Condition or uncertainty, I would go there if I were asked. He wouldn't have done it unless he was told by someone. So, this is the way we can use would, the past tense of will. So, based on the understanding of the usage of these modals, that is shall, should, will, would, here is an activity for you to complete. The first activity is fill up the blanks in the following with shall or will as required. The first question is, I dash buy you a car when you finish your studies. Second one, you dash be the first person to know. Third, it dash rain in the evening. Fourth, do not worry, I dash be careful. Fifth, dash I get a pizza for dinner tonight. So, understand and recall how the word shall or will was used. Using that, complete this activity. We shall discuss the answer for this in the next session. The next activity is fill in the blanks with should or would, shouldn't or wouldn't. The first question is, you dash save your money for buying a house. Second, dash you like to visit the museum with us. Third, you dash hit the dog so cruelly. Fourth, he dash have done it unless he was told by someone. Fifth, he ran lest he dash miss the train. So, based on the understanding of today's class, please complete these activities. The answers to these questions will be discussed in the next class. This ends the first session of the models. In today's class, you learnt about shall, should, will and would. The remaining models will be covered in the next session. Hope all of you have understood this part. Please go through all the examples. Make a note of all the points which I have put on every slides. Each and everything is important. Write the examples. Follow the examples. Read each slide again and again. This is a new topic for you children. It will take time for you to understand this part. Thank you. Have a good day.